Uh, Hi there. I don't know what to talk about. Well, I know what to talk about. 12 years ago, my brother raped me. Sexual penetration by digits. If you just look that up, then you'll get the picture, or hopefully you can infer that. But that's rape. That includes rape. It something my mum did, which was like, I didn't know what the actual definition was. It's like, it doesn't really matter because it's rape, and if it's not rape, if it's not full rape, as my nan said, it's he is incestuous. I'm not, but my mum, my sister, and surrounding people that they have manipulated would say that I consented to do that with my brother, which I never did. And I reported this all to the police last year. So I waited 11 years to actually report it to the police because at the time, when I was 13, I told my mother and my sister that he'd raped me or sexually assaulted me. And they said, don't say lies like that about your brother. And they told me, they basically convinced me that it didn't happen. Definitely didn't happen is what they said. And that I can't remember everything that they said. But basically, it didn't happen and you're lying about it. And then my mum now, to this day, goes on. I've had her friend, or a few of her friends. They've all come back and basically said the same thing. But like, one of them said that she says, I'm always doing it for attention. Anyway, I realise that this is all hearsay. And I don't really care about rumours, although I do because it's quite impactful on the life. I'm just hiding behind the curtain. It does impact the life. Things like my nan and my auntie have sent me a card and a box of chocolates for Easter in the post. And what makes me feel uncomfortable about that is that they're still talking to my mum and my sister and my brother, and they still say complimentary things about my brother, that he looks like my dad who is dead, and kind of makes it worse to compare a rapist to a beautiful dead father. So they do things that make me, my nan and my auntie do things that make me not trust them, and it just confuses me when they send me things in the post when I haven't spoken to them or any member of my family for, well, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. And I don't intend to for at least 10 years. And my mum and my sister and my brother probably the rest of my life. And not to be religious because I don't follow religion. Anyway, it doesn't matter about that. I've prayed for like their forgiveness or their salvation, or that they will find peace amongst me, finding peace and being able to forgive them, because I don't want it to hurt me any more than it has to, and any more than it already has. But aside from sexual abuse, I have to go on to say that my mother and my sister are extremely emotionally abusive anyway. Unfortunately, it happened my whole life. Ever since I was like 7, I tried to run away from home, and I've suffered with mental health issues for a long time. And funny enough, coincidentally, my mum financially abused my mental health benefits, money that I would get for at least 4 years, since I was 15 to 19, until I had a job and I took over from that, which she was not pleased about. But then she still tried to financially abuse me and find her own gain in my brother's mental health benefits that he falsely gets. My mum has set that up since he was like that age as well. He's a bit older than me, so 16 or 17. 16. She's got his benefits, and she's also said that she is his carer. So she's swapped. Anyway, she's basically told them that she's no longer looking after me when I quit my benefits, and that she's now looking after him. But she doesn't look after him. She's not his carer because he doesn't need a carer. Basically, on the form it says, I know it's really gone off now, but they're financial abuses. It basically says that he can't wash himself, dress himself, cook for himself, go out by himself. But he actually does all those things. He cooks for himself. He goes out by himself. I've reported them to the benefits people because that's not a secret. I have. I'm just talking like it's a secret. So that's a good thing. And they're toxic, and I'm trying to take out the toxicity out of my life. And I'm trying not to talk to anyone. And I can see that people related to them that believe their stories. It's funny because what I guess my message here is that I've just read an article again. I read that it's about 5% of rape cases are a lie, which means 95% of them are the truth. But when you take into account that 90% of rape cases are not reported to the police, so I guess the way that they'd find that out is through doctors or mental health services or family members. I don't know how they gather information that can't really be quantified, or I don't know if that's a word. They can't work it all out. But anyway, this woman estimated that because we've only got 10% of the number, we have to assume that it's not 5%, it's actually 0.5% of people are falsely alleged to be a rapist. That doesn't make sense, does it? I don't know why that's important. Oh yeah, it's important because if somebody says to you, I've been raped, they've been raped. You have to believe them. I mean, unless they're like literally laughing and they're going, it's rape, so funny. Because sometimes people joke about things. But rape is to be taken much more seriously. And my mum and my sister, my mum is incestuous. So she has feelings for her dad, I reckon, and my brother, her son. She's always saying he's so gorgeous and such a genius, like my dad, and other things, very musical genius. Basically, she's in love with her son. Anyway, off that point, if somebody says that I've been raped, they've been raped. And if somebody says he's a rapist, he's probably a rapist, unless they're joking. But 5% is still very small, 0.5%. Let's just hit in the middle and just say 3%. So like 97% of rapists are really, really, really rapists. And people throw around the word attention seeker, she was dressed like a slut, or there's so many stigmatisms, or there's just the psychology that the truth is so difficult to accept and imagine. To put a person's man or woman's face and think they have done such a horrible thing. But people murder, I was going to say people murder all the time. That's really up to debate, and it's a really complex and deep thing that I was going to bring up there. But people aren't like what they seem. They're not nice people anyway. So you can't say, oh well, he gave me £5 one day, he gave me £2.50, I really like him. Sounds really strange, but somebody's dad actually did molest their daughter, and she told me all about it, and I didn't believe her. I just didn't, for some reason I just didn't believe her, because I couldn't imagine his face and think, well, he's a rapist. I just couldn't put the two. I just didn't accept the truth, and now I accept the truth, and I'm really sorry for not being there more, because I wasn't, because I fled that scene so quick, even though it was around the same time that same kind of thing had happened to me and was about to happen to me again. So, by two different people, it sounds like really dramatic, but I'm getting therapy and I'm going through all that, but I just hope that she is alright, in a way. She's getting on with her life now and everything, that's great, but something that has happened 1 day ago, or 1 decade ago, or 10 decades ago, it affects your life. It affects your entire life. I'm married now, but it's still very difficult for me to trust other people, for me to talk to other people. My brain is very malleable. I can be told one thing and believe it, and then the next minute be told a different thing and believe that. And there's more that I have to understand about my mental health, because I know that there's a lot of vulnerability there. As much as fight, that I get really angry with everyone. I don't know, I just really wanted to speak my heart. Because, yeah, it's like 6 months down the line after I haven't spoken to anyone, and I sincerely just hope that if anybody has told you that they've been fingered, or they've been kissed wrongfully, or their husband has raped them, or boyfriend, because husbands rape their wives. No, it sounds weird, but that was like a bit of a realisation to me when I saw that on a poster when I was young, that like, just because they're your boyfriend doesn't mean that they're entitled, or girlfriend doesn't mean that they're entitled to it. They can still rape you. If you say no, it does mean no. And like, if it's safe to, you can leave the house. You can just tell them to fuck right off, because what they are doing is wrong. And it does affect you. You shouldn't have to put your self-dignity at stake. You shouldn't have to sabotage the way that you feel inside or outside, or however like you feel. You shouldn't be made to feel cold inside, or disgraced, or defiled, or disgusting and dirty, because I still feel disgusting a lot of the time. A lot of the time I describe other things as disgusting, and I have obsessive compulsive behaviours. I've not been diagnosed with anything properly, but I have to clean, because I just believe that everything is dirty, amongst a lot of things. It's just so impactful. And if people were believed, but not just believed, told to say, hey, just report it to the police, just phone 101 or 999. It's not a scary number. If you've been raped, you should just call them and say, I've been raped by this person, this is my name. They'll come, they'll take a statement or an interview. They're very nice. They take you for an interview, and you don't have to lie. You don't have to make things up. They say, because I did mine 11 years after, so I don't know what my memory's going to be like in 20 years or whatever, but any time you remember it. You remember that it happened to you, so just report it. So and if you don't remember something, they say to you, if you don't remember it, just say, I don't remember. And I said, I don't remember all the time, but in my interview, and it took like an hour and a half. But you do it, because that person is a rapist, sexual offender, predator, wrong'un. It doesn't matter. Just do it. You have to do it, because people shouldn't get away with hurting others, and it's strengthening to actually talk about it to somebody who is unbiased. And yeah, be ready. But if you're that family and you don't believe them, just think for 1 second, but what if they were raped? And remember that it's not often falsely accused. It's actually much, much higher percentage much more often that they are telling the truth, because people don't lie about rape. But it's a hard thing to obtain in your mind, but what you have to do is just not talk to that person, that rapist, talk to the victim. So I just ask if they're okay, keep asking if they're okay. And then if you're like me, you have to cut off from those toxic people, those people who will literally turn around, well, go behind your back to people and slander against you and lie and say it was consensual, they were just young. It's all lies. Anyway, if you have to cut off from your family, then I really do hope and pray that people can have the strength to do that, and it comes when you're ready as well. But it doesn't matter, because everyone's experience is completely different, and there's a lot of people out there for you, and there's like even like Facebook groups, no shame survivors, rape survivors, stuff like that. Just read it, even if you know someone that's been raped. Just anyway, I'm going on and on and on, so but yeah, God bless and good night.